All right, good afternoon. We'd like to go over some things today, so it's really important that you give us about 10 minutes. I'd put our phones away and all that other stuff because we're only going through certain things so many times. I will piggyback off of that, and just so you understand, there's been many people who have been confused and frustrated about calculations and other things like that. When we go through it, like last Friday and this Monday, it would probably be wise as we're doing it is to realize and pay attention to the information that's being given. We're trying to help you with materials that are down the road. So when I'm asking, hey, pull out your notes. Well, I didn't take any notes. Okay, well, what did you do when we were showing you all that? Well, nothing. Well, we're not going to go through it every single day like that. That was the day. When you're in a real job, you are going to be given a tutorial or a training, and they're not going to give you that training again. So you got to kind of realize we're giving you helpful hints as we go. Maybe the snacks aren't that important right now. This is what I'm talking about. So I've been hearing a lot of frustration about this. So I have to chuckle when someone comes up to me and say, well, everybody's saying, and then they're saying what's a fictitious way of what needs to be handed in. This is actually on Canvas. Like this was copy and pasted. This was on the screen. For as many screenshots as people take, I've heard so many different stories of what's due for today. So I guess I wouldn't really listen to Jimmy or Sally saying what's due if that doesn't sound right. Probably reread what we have on the actual sheet or come and talk to us. But I had to defend it. Well, everyone else is saying this, and I'm actually telling multiple students what's actually due, and they're not believing me. Like let's make sure we understand who's running it, your friends or us. Like, trust what we're telling you, okay? Please. So I've been finding that very funny. So this is what's due by the end of the day today. And I will take full responsibility for the word one-page summary. I guess that's confusing you because when you read that, you think you have to type paragraphs. I've never said that. Things can be on a page that's a summary of many things like sketches and calculations. And so poor choice of words maybe. You needed to write who's in your group, a sketch of the building, especially the reaction vessel. Okay, I really could care less what the inside of the building looks like unless if you're showing where you think tubes might go, but I know what the rooms look like. You know what the rooms look like. It's how are you going to mix the solid and the liquids? In general, what do you think the materials are going to be that you're going to use? And then you did need to do 2 calculations to find out how much you need of your acid and your solid. So to summarize in the blue, which was the same screen on Monday, a sketch of the building, the materials that you think you need, and the calculation of the reactants. Okay? So if you still are confused, I mean, some people are like, well, what about the full scale? What about this effusion speed thing? What about this 12 molar, this 12M thing? That's at the ending. That's your final paper. That's 2 weeks from now. That's stuff you don't need to do right now. You don't have to do anything with this. You should have gotten an email from Mr. Kelleher or myself. If you have not signed up for a group yet, just understand this. If you have not filled out a partner sheet, you are like a phantom. You are a ghost to us in this project. You don't exist until you fill that out. I'm now working with this person. You are working with no one, and not even you don't exist until you fill this out. So the problem is if it goes past today, you're jeopardizing your grade. Because we need to know what you're doing. What's your plan? You can't all of a sudden hop on board with someone halfway through and be like, oh, no, I've been working with Bryce the whole time. Like, you were? Because Bryce didn't say he didn't fill it out that way. So, anywho, if you're concerned about that, let me know. All right, so I'm going to give you 3 big tips today. So, soak it in. We are recording this. That doesn't mean zone out. When you hand this in, you are handing in a letter, a calculation, an invoice, and a blueprint. You would never give this to a company and go, hey, hope you like my presentation, and the calculations are on loose leaf paper. Okay, you wouldn't write it out. You would make this look a lot better. So I want to show you something that is slick. And I'm going to do it from scratch. So here we go. I'm not a big fan of Google Docs, so don't think that I'm like the expert and the pro on this. But let's say I made a title. This is an actual thing. You're not looking for moles of HCl, but let's say you need moles. of HCl for the model in Plasky. Let's say you wrote it out and you figured out you needed 3 steps, like in a T-chart. This is how you can do this. I'm going to do it live for you. So I'm going to make 4 for the answer. Okay. I'm going to center this, and then I'm making this up. This does not have a bearing on this chapter or on this project. But let's say I'm starting with 17.2 grams of CO2. I don't know. First off, this is lazy. Highlight that number, format, text, subscript. Hey, I can copy and paste that now. So now I know that's 44 grams per mole. I have, let's say, 1 mole. I'm not doing necessarily real calculations here. Maybe the mole ratio is 2 to every 1 mole of HCl. I'm making all this up. And let's say that the answer is God knows what. I don't know. Okay? Now, that's not horrible. If you're on your iPad, that's as far as you can go. But if you're on any kind of a computer ever, check this out. I highlight this, hit the upper right box. I want to get the outside frame out, and it changes up here, and I can change the border color to white. What? Well, I don't like that either. So I select the right side, turn it white. I did it. I know. Do it one more time. He won't do it. Yeah, he will. And boom. Now, there's a T-chart. Now, maybe you need something else. Why reinvent the wheel? Maybe you can just copy and paste that, and now you change it. Maybe this is liters of something, whatever. So I just made a pretty snazzy T-chart right there. And what did that take? Maybe a minute and a half? And I haven't even really tried that hard to do that. Okay? So there's something to think about. Stay with me. I'm helping you out with stuff down the road. One of the things that's being asked is how do you calculate how much acid you need if you're using this thing called 12M HCl. It means 12 molar. It's a lot more concentrated. It's a lot stronger. A little common sense. Check it out. If I have 1.25 M, this is how I write it. So if I have 12 M, what do you think you'd have to do? And that's all you'll have to change. And then you do your calculation again, and it'll tell you how many liters of acid you need. We'll help you down the road, but I'm giving you an insight to the fact that you just need to tweak one little thing on whatever calculation. None of this is real, but this is right here. Okay, so if you're like, I don't get that, it's fine. Just an introduction to it. Okay, the second question that people have been asking, eventually you need a calculation. Which one goes faster, CO2 or halon 1211? And you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about yet. That means you just didn't read it yet in there. Well, this is the equation you use to talk about gases traveling through each other. It's real simple. You use masses. So you could look up the mass of CO2, and then if you look hard enough, there is a formula of halon 1211 in your pamphlet. It's there. Use your calculator, periodic table, plug it in. This might be the easiest thing on this entire sheet, actually. Once you figure, like, oh my gosh, I just need the molar masses. If you're confused with that, we will cross this bridge one more time. All right, 2 more things, and then we're done. Totally my fault. And if you don't want to change this now, I'm just telling you later, you're going to have to add something. And some groups have done this. They've added a column called quantity. I would strongly suggest, don't do it now. In your class, either Mr. Kelleher's or mine, you're going to walk in, and this will be up on the screen. It's a new invoice. In fact, it's even better. Right here, there's a amount spent. So as you plug in numbers, it actually tallies it for you. But you will need a quantity. So if you use the new one and spend 3 minutes just transferring what you said, and I added a couple extra lines because somebody requested that, they're like, I need to add some more things. Great. You will just have to tweak the top at the ending to make it look like your other sheets, and you'll be done. It'll actually be a lot less work in the long run. So if you want to get the new and improved invoice, I strongly suggest doing that when you come into class in about 7 minutes or so, okay? So just understand that I messed that up for the quantity. Okay, last item, and I'm going to do this live, so this is really important. If you draw your blueprint, it's got to be really awesome. I mean, it can't look like you were just sitting there and kind of doodling. So that puts a lot of pressure on you to get it right. And I don't know if you want that. So I'm giving you 3 options. I'm only going to show you one. On your iPad, you have Notability and Sketch. Those are different ways of drawing some shapes and writing some numbers, and you're going to make a blueprint. I'm going to show you Google Draw. Unfortunately, Google Draw is not on an iPad. I have no idea why. So what I did, check this out. I just typed in Google Draw. So if you're ever on a computer or Chromebook, it's the first thing that pops up. It's the first thing that pops up. You need to make a side view and a top view. So I'm doing this in real time. I'm going to do this really quickly and show you. I'm not an expert on this. I'm showing you in live time. So maybe that's my building. I'm going to add more later. Here's my reaction vessel. Maybe you're like, wait a minute. My reaction vessel, I use a 2-liter bottle. Well, maybe I could actually say 2-liter bottle outline. Hint, if you hit tools, settings, no, tools. Oh, images, sorry. If you hit tools and then you go to transparent, then nothing's in the background. So if I like select this one, it's like checkered. Copy it. Go to here. Whoops. Oh, didn't want to show you that yet. Maybe I want to actually do the bottle. I crop it. Whoops. Let's try that again. And maybe I want to fatten it up. Maybe our bottle's kind of fat. Then maybe in there I had a little cup. So I twist it. I put it right there. That holds maybe my solid. I'm going to change colors to that maybe. Now I need some tubes. Let's say I had some piping. I find a cylinder maybe. I make it long. I turn it. What? I turn it to the side. Maybe I'm going to change that to here. I take that, put it on the other side. I take order. I send it to the back. Maybe it looks like something like this. If you didn't have clear tops, yes, I think you can do this. You need then windows if you're not going to have a clear top. So maybe I do this. Whoops. It's all bloody in there. I'm trying to show you I'm doing this in real time. I'm not even spending time on this. Now, you need dimensions and things like that, but that's the side view maybe. Okay, now I need a top view. Okay, fine. So it'll be a square. Shh. I need a top. Maybe the bottle kind of looks like a circle here. I can now show like, oh, that's actually on the sides like that. Okay. And then maybe I do another circle for where the acid, the solid is sitting, and I don't know what color that would be. And then I can start putting dimensions. I spent another 5 minutes or so, and I made one that looked like this. And I actually put candles, and I put some dimensions on the sides, and I need more than this still. But what I'm just trying to show, like, that didn't take long, right? And I would put a lot more time. I have 2 weeks to do that. I spent about 2 minutes. Now, I'm not asking for this, but you can, like, find clip art. That's too much. Like, you don't want to print that. Be like, what is happening? I feel like that's not a blueprint. I don't have enough there. But I did find, like, little bushes if you want to add some things. But you can't lose sight of dimensions and labeling. This right here, actually, if you have a valve, maybe you had a valve on your, sorry. Maybe there was a valve right there, and you want that. So valve. Maybe, oh my gosh, that's the exact valve I have. It's amazing, but I want, yep, and it's, so I could, maybe for some reason it's right here. Now that is upside down, let's say. But whatever, you get the idea, and I can actually add that in there and have a better idea of what my blueprint looks like, okay? So those are some things to think about as we go. We want to point out, this is very important. The goal, guys, you can have 8 tubes, you can have 2 tubes, you can have 1 tube, you can have holes in the tubes, you can have things coming out of other tubes, but there are 8 fires, and you have to notice that 1, 2, 3, and 8 are closed. Those walls should go to the ceilings. Those don't actually have doors as much as those look like doors. That's just the outline of what I found for the office. The whole point is that, can you put out flames that are in mostly an open area? And can you put out some that are in a closed area? So if you just had 1 tube go in here and go, run, CO2, run. You're not putting out those 4 flames because they're closed off. So that is part of the challenge. So it's like, whoa, that wasn't told to us. It wasn't untold to you either. These were walls that were here. So you might have this slightly modified. Okay, fine. We need to make sure that something is dropping in there, or as the tube's going by, or below, or from above, or whatever. Okay? So that is something that is important for you to know. So as we continue to go, if you are just, I am stuck. Besides handing in a sheet that has a sketch, some materials, and calculations, have you started making a box, 30 by 30 by 10? Then you start putting rooms in. Then after that, you go, okay, now I need a bottle on the side or on the top or below. And I need to figure out where my tubes are going into that building. And it all starts to come together. But it's how you approach it. Okay? So we're going to grab all of our stuff. We're going to be heading either into Mr. Kelleher's room or my room.